Yeah, welcome in. It's the Three Guys Talking Ball podcast. It's the episode 113.
By as many
Football's a
playoff
stupid
losses
game.
as Dallas has in a row.
Football, it
Ooh.
really is just it should be outlawed by the NFL. It's the fact that they just add extra teams into the playoffs that it's so they can make more money. At what point do they need more money? Like, why capitalism isn't a good thing? Like what? Like why do they need to have a seventh team in when just give the 2 seed a bye that they deserve?
Hey,
you know
you energy vampire. Wake your ass up.
Suck
The
it
listeners
up.
and viewers deserve better than you.
We really
Your
don't
team
care about
lost. Move
Mike.
on.
Good
Let's
Lord.
go.
Act
Can you
like
bring the
just
juice?
horse or something. Jesus.
It's the Three Guys Talking Ball podcast. Welcome in. It is episode 113. We're going to be recapping the wild card round. We're going to preview the divisional round games. It is still negative 20 degrees, but you know what? Who's got it better than us? Nobody. How was that?
That's better.
I mean, there's a lot of people that have it better than us. But it was
Well,
good.
you know, the good
That is
news is
also factually correct.
it's still like negative bajillion degrees outside. The good news is that I will be flying to Arizona on Friday to golf for 4 to 5 days. Yeah, fly back Wednesday. So golf Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
That would be 4 days, sir.
4 days, yeah.
What an idiot.
Fly back Wednesday and get some nice warm weather. Enjoy some nice quality time with some family. Say some bad words on a golf course. Maybe hit some good shots. But you know what they say: a bad round of golf is always a better day. Beats a bad round of golf beats a good day of work. So mirror
Dylan,
positivity.
Dylan, quick question for you. I know we're the mirror positivity here, but when was the last time you had a good day at work? I feel like those aren't allowed to happen.
You know, I would actually say today was a pretty good day. We had to go out to the beach, North Dakota.
Okay.
And I actually found out why Beach was named the town. It turns out it was one of Custer's generals, and his last name was Beach, and that's what the town of Beach, North Dakota is named after. I found that out Friday, but we had to go do a reset at one of Jimmy Haslam's fine establishment of pilots. And it actually was the smoothest reset I've ever been a part of. Everything went well. We were done. We were ahead of schedule. We were leaving. We went 8 and left. So most of the time, those resets, which for those of you guys who don't know what a reset is, which I don't know if you guys know what a reset is, but it's when you go into a gas station. I guess they have them at Targets and Hy-Vees, but they go in and, you know, it's some corporate suit that sits at an office that's better than all of us that think they know that things need to go into a certain spot, and you go and you change around a bunch of stuff. And sometimes it can be a giant pain in the ass depending on all sorts of different factors, whether it be the size of the cooler or things that are getting moved, if you're adding or losing space. We've had some doozies for sure, or how much a lack of planning that is done prior to it. Like if there's things that are going away and there's a bunch of it that you got to get rid of and put in new stuff, or people don't order the right stuff, all sorts of things. And then usually that creates a crabby boss, crabby store managers, and nobody's happy and nobody can get out of there fast enough. But this one, it was smooth. It got there, had to move a couple of things around, and just everybody did their part. We were in and out, and it was a good day.
Well, there you go. You answered that with much more positivity than I thought, because I was not anticipating a good day at work, especially in your line of work in sales for soda. And, you know, with the Pepsi Cola company, that just sounds like a disaster waiting to happen 9 days out of the week. So,
no, It says we are not the Dallas Cowboys of the
Oh,
beverage distribution company. So
okay. Is that
yeah,
Coca-Cola then? Since they're a primarily a southern drink, like in the southern part of this country?
I would say well, so Dr. Pepper is the Cowboys drink actually. It was and
Is it
my
now?
dad, yeah. Well, AT&T Stadium is a Pepsi place. So was Texas Stadium. My dad got to go down to a convention down to Texas Stadium. Got to run out of the helmet with the cheerleaders, like dancing in front of him. Yeah,
Even
yeah.
better. The
Carry the
scenery.
dog.
Let's go.
Uh-huh. And he won a trip to the Pro Bowl that year. And they had Jerry Jones come and speak. And he
Was that
said
in
that
Hawaii
like
still?
yes, yep. I was a seventh grader, so
Okay.
it was the year the Patriots won the it was the year the Patriots were undefeated and lost to the Giants that year.
That would be
But
2007.
yep. And Jerry Jones talked about how when he bought the Cowboys, it was a Coke place, but then he switched it to Pepsi, and they've been Pepsi Dr. Pepper ever since.
Interesting.
Well, if you don't know, now you know, folks.
Yeah. I would say Coke is more so the 2017 Cleveland Browns.
Ooh, gross.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's winless and getting absolutely annihilated in every single game.
Exactly.
Whew,
So,
gross.
or and this is just a good transition here, or the Cleveland Browns of Saturday who lost 45-14 and it felt like it was going to be a shootout after there were 4 lead changes in like the first 18 minutes. And then after that, the Texans outscored the Browns 35-0. The Flacco turnovers, which were still a problem when he was playing and on this hot streak, he still had what did he have, like 13 interceptions in the regular season. But what a scene, and who would have thought that after the first playoff game or first preseason game, if you would have told us CJ Stroud would have been the best quarterback out of this year's draft, probably going to win offense. Will. I think this established himself as the winner of the Rookie of the Year award, and D'Amico Ryans is a coach. If too bad, I mean, there's been plenty of tremendous coaching jobs this year. And I mean, this might be one of the years that we give out. I would be okay with giving out a co-head coach of the year because there's about 4 or 5 of these coaches who deserve it. And we talk about these being regular season awards, but I think this is a year where you can make an exception of of what you do in the postseason as for that award as well this year.
Well, and if you ask me, I think that's D'Amico's award to lose, because now I was a Kevin Stefanski guy before, but now that they played at full strength and D'Amico's team absolutely demolished them, and coming from where the Texans were last year, I understand the Browns had 4 different starting quarterbacks this year, and no one else does that, and you lose both your tackles, you lose Nick Chubb, your quarterback gets hurt. Yes, they had some issues, but the Texans absolutely destroyed and manhandled the Browns. So now I think it's D'Amico Ryan's award to lose, and he should be the betting favorite.
It'd almost be malpractice if he doesn't. Like, since when does a NFL rookie quarterback go into the playoffs against the number 1 defense in the league, granted at home, 16-21, 274, and 3 touchdowns? Like, honestly, I doubt it's ever been done. I mean, maybe Tom Brady or something, but even then, that was more of just hurt, came in, like Stroud's come in here and just lit it up for like a better part of 2 months now.
And it's like he did it again without Tank Dell. I understand Nico Collins, he's a nice player. Robert Woods is still somehow in this league, but to do it like that, and Dylan, to your point, against the number 1 defense, it's incredible. It's unheard of, and you kind of hope this Texans magical run doesn't end because it's so much fun to watch week in and week out.
How fast is Brevin Jordan though? Holy hell!
Yeah.
Well, Ethan, you said it right when we were watching that game, and you texted us that you couldn't remember that who the tight end was in the Matt Schaub era, and that's exactly what the Texans look like. The defense was flying around, another pick six from like when J.J. Watt was playing. It was just
two
two pick sixes, yeah.
Two.
And a lovely city deserves a lovely football team, and that's what Houston has right now.
Isn't the Super Bowl in Houston this year?
Vegas.
No, Las Vegas.
Right, okay.
The national championship was in Houston.
That's what I was thinking of.
But hey, also guys, apparently if you just want to build a world-class defense in the NFL with playmakers, wait a minute. This is going to come as a surprise. Sit down for this one, folks. Draft a Nick Saban coached Alabama players, and good things will happen.
Yep.
Who was almost the Alabama head coach, depending on certain message boards. Which, thank you, Ethan, for being the message board guy and searching for all the best laughable moments that we can find on there. That should be a segment here, especially as we exit football season and we start seeing different things. I think that would be a heck of a segment of the best message board rumor we find.
I got to go on the Iowa OC. I know one of us isn't a fan here anymore, but Ryan Grubb, Iowa fans were pissed off that Iowa never reached out to him. Why in the hell would he leave Washington at the time to go to Iowa? Like, what an absolute idiotic thought.
They said this.
Multiple people were mad that Iowa would not reach out.
These people said this.
Yes, they did.
It just gives me another reason to be totally done with that team. Now I can be done with these idiot fan bases. Let's call a spade a spade.
I mean, to be honest, Grant, you should have been done when we went to the Iowa game, Minnesota game back in like 2017 when the guy came out of the bathroom and shit on himself. Like that, Iowa at that point would have been like walked down and done. But that's you do you.
I can't believe it took me this long to get my head wrapped on straight. And let's be honest here. Let's call out these Iowa fans for a second. They're not Midwestern nice. Iowa fans are assholes.
Yep.
They will spit on people. They will push people. They will want to get super drunk where they fight some Minnesota fan next to him just for cheering on his team.
And then
out of nowhere, when wants to fight Dylan, when the state trooper pulls out his badge and says, "Hey, back up, buddy. I'll call backup here," he runs away like a coward. We should have known this. The people of Iowa City they're just nasty people.
And Grant, also, if you do remember correctly, when we went to the Iowa Penn State game, the amount of times that we would see Penn State fans walking by and we'd hear Iowa fans yell something about Jerry Sandusky.
Jerry Sandusky.
They all agree Jerry Sandusky is a shitbag, a pathetic, weak excuse of a man.
He's in heaven. Let's just say that.
Yeah. That is correct.
Is he dead? He's not dead yet, is he?
I think he did die, didn't he?
I thought he did.
Really?
I don't know. He won't be in heaven if he did. I don't know if he hasn't.
Yeah, he's got a highway to hell, and AC/DC will not be playing on that ride right there.
No, he will not.
No, he's still alive.
Oh, he's still alive.
He could possibly get out. The earliest release is October 9th, 2042.
Okay, so he's gonna die.
He's gonna die in prison. Okay, very nice.
Yeah, he is currently he's 79 years old.
Yeah, he's gonna die.
But
how old would he be?
He'd be like 96.
He'd be 98.
Oh god.
Yeah, because he was born in. I've spent way too much time on this Jerry Sandusky Wikipedia page. Yeah, he was born in 44.
Yeah, he'd be 98.
Yeah, 98. Yeah.
January. Oh, he's almost got a birthday coming up. His birthday's in 10 days, actually.
I will not be wishing him a happy birthday.
But all right, well then, fellas.
I digress.
Yeah, we digress. What would be a Three Guys Talking Ball podcast if we didn't get sidetracked and some completely off our rockers here?
Wouldn't happen.
Yeah, let's go.
Also, but hey, real quick, back to the message boards things. Also, shout out to Ethan to finding out someone on the Alabama board said Dan Lanning was on a flight to Tuscaloosa. When I find out the next day when I'm watching Pat McAfee, Dan Lanning is in his living room in his house, and his son goes, "Hey, Dad, there's a report out there that says you're on a plane to Tuscaloosa right now."
A news station in Oregon was the first one to report it. Like, how embarrassing is that?
Oh no!
Turns out there actually was a plane that flew from Eugene
Eugene?
to Tuscaloosa.
Oh
It was
man!
it was a fighter jet, a U.S. fighter jet.
Sounds about right. And
Oh my
well,
god!
so I was I can't remember who was on Pardon My Take
Oh
on
my
Friday,
God.
but it was a college football writer, and he told a story of when Urban Meyer was potentially a candidate for the Florida job, and that was like the early days of of plane tracking, and apparently it doesn't happen very often, but there was a plane that went from Salt Lake to Gainesville, and this was before Urban was considered a candidate, and they like everybody was freaking out. Oh my gosh, Urban's going to Florida. He's going to be the head coach of Florida. Turns out what that plane was going there for was for somebody just passed away, and they needed to transport whoever just died liver because there was a liver transplant candidate in Gainesville, Florida.
Like, these people know nothing. Like, it's just hilarious. Like, automatically assume that is what's going on.
Hey, but you know what, guys? I got to say this. For some reason, if I'm ever on the liver transplant list, if I get a liver from Utah, I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
What about me?
No.
Well, that's good because you're gonna give me yours whenever I need mine.
There you
Oh.
go. You would be in a much better situation
There's
than
a
you
process
giving me
behind this,
mine.
guys.
Well, what are you, a scientist? What do you know?
I watch Grey's Anatomy.
What are you gonna be sitting? You
Oh,
surprised
we
you don't
got
have
a
your mask on?
We got a Katherine Heigl fan in the house,
Oh, yeah.
everybody.
Hey, it's called UNOS. It's a real thing. You should educate yourself.
Why would I do that? Education
know.
is
Yeah,
dumb.
it's no fun.
This is stupid.
Saying random things that piss people off on the internet is way more fun.
Yeah. Ooh, I went to school. I have $300,000 in student loans to be a doctor. I'm better than you. Ha ha ha.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, they are after they
Granted,
pay it off. But
there are doctors that I have seen on Twitter that still have not left their house without wearing a mask and probably wear masks in their house. So, you know,
Well,
who? I mean, are you really that smart? I don't know. But all right, let's go to the Chiefs-Dolphins game. Grant, I'll let you take the lead on
God.
this since it was your team. So fire away here.
Yeah,
What your thoughts on the Chiefs-Dolphins game? Fourth coldest game in NFL history.
So this is just me, and after this last weekend and watching football teams and watching some teams just absolutely implode and some teams stick together. After this weekend, guys, it shows you the importance of coaching and culture in the NFL. One team in this game had a coach that was a Super Bowl champion. He's a football lifer. He's an old school guy, believes in fundamentals, practicing hard, and being physical and dominating your opponent and letting them know you're here. Another one was a flashy guy who wants to wear cool shoes on the sideline, wear sunglasses, and be liked on the internet.
Capris too.
And wear capris. Well, that coach's team looked like the tennis players played the football team and they got their ass kicked. So coaching wins once again in this league. But, you know, again, guys, being all serious now, it comes down to what the strength the strength of the Chiefs team was all year, and it's this defense. You know, they're a top 3 unit in this league. It's crazy. Had they not had the 2 fumbles against the Raiders and the pick 6 against the Lions in week 1 that counted against them, they'd be the number 1 defense in the league for scoring this year. That's a little fun fact for you. But you know, they dominated the Dolphins. They got in their face. They besides the one play where that Tyreek was in motion and he just ran by McDuffie, they owned the line of scrimmage. The Dolphins weren't able to get their running game set up. The pass rush was getting home. Tua was getting uncomfortable. So they continued to do their thing. Again, they got 2 sacks on the day. But another thing that I finally like, especially over the Cincinnati game and the end of the regular season and this game now, the Chiefs are finally buying into who they are this year.
Yeah.
It's not 2018 to 2022. Again, it's the 2014 team to 2016. Run the ball at the line of scrimmage, play action passes, get your receivers on some shallow routes let them get the yards after the catch. They're finally embracing who they are, and they have that confidence back to them. They feel like, hey, you know what? We know this is who we can be, and we're a dangerous team, going forward. And Rashee Rice coming on of late is huge. And, Pat's got that confidence back, and, it's a sight to see. And this is a dangerous team. They're getting hot at the right time for them, and the rest of the NFL maybe doesn't want to see it. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but they kind of got 2020 Bucks written all over them right now. A slow start to the year. People are worried. Players and coaches aren't getting along. But then they find their groove late. And let's see if they can, keep this thing going this week going forward.
Yeah, and I think that game, it was you could just tell right away from the opening kick which team wanted to be there, which one didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the way this game played out, where it was the Chiefs, it was be aggressive early or be cautiously aggressive early, get out, get a lead. And after that, they looked across the sideline. It was similar to like when good teams would play Iowa. It was like, let's get a lead. Let's not give them any hope. Let's be conservative. Field goals will win this game. And just make sure we get out of here with a win and healthy and going into the next round.
I just think it was so obvious Tua cannot play in the cold.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was so bad. I mean, the touchdown wasn't even a good throw. Like it was underthrown by.
It was an underthrow.
Yards, like, completely. Even if the pass interference, like shit, like he had no rhythm, no timing, nothing. Like he completely missed throws, and that's really what sets up their run game, is being able to be explosive in the passing game, and it just didn't happen.
And they never really even tried to establish the run at all, which with Achane and Mostert both back there and healthy, I was surprised that they didn't. I think that's just some of Mike McDaniel trying to be too cute, and probably the most frustrating thing if you are a Dolphins fan, because he was hired because he was the run game coordinator and the czar of the run game in San Francisco. And it's just when you need it there, when you need them to run the ball, they just are not able to do it. They just are not a tough team. I think I don't know. Mark Schlereth was talking about it a while back on his podcast. He was talking about how there are certain teams that, based off where they are located, they will never win a Super Bowl. And that's a place like Miami, because, you look at a place like a Kansas City or a place that Buffalo,
even
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, yeah.
Where it gets cold, it gets miserable, it's just not fun. So you don't really have much choice to do other than bury yourself in the playbook or bury yourself in the film room and watch film and learn and get better. Where, we live in Miami. We got beautiful women that don't wear a lot of clothes. We have beautiful weather. There's so much more to do. And I mean, the state of Florida has about 2 seasons. There's just way too many distractions to where it's tough to build a perennial winner in Miami, which, to Mike McDaniel's credit, he has gotten them to the playoffs back-to-back years. But to get them over the hump, they've got to find a way to get something mean. And, I think Mike McDaniels is a likable guy. I enjoyed this season of Hard Knocks, but I don't know if he needs to bring in an offensive coordinator to take over play calling, and where he can just take on that CEO role, because I think if the Dolphins don't go at least win a playoff game next year, I wouldn't be shocked if they try to move on from him. And maybe Mike McDaniel's just an offensive coordinator, which I kind of have. I don't want to believe that about him, but that's the kind of the way my thinking is trending, is that he's just an offensive coordinator. But we don't really, and maybe he is, because he wasn't the one calling the plays in San Francisco.
Dylan, I will say this. Had the Dolphins not fired Brian Flores, and had he inherited Tyreek Hill and this team, that I'm not saying they win, but that game's a hell of a lot closer.
Yeah.
And that game last year in Buffalo, the regular season game and the playoff game, they win that game. when Brian Flores is your head coach, they don't lose to Tennessee at home. So where I'm going with that is I think the culture is just off in Miami. It's based too much of like the city. You know, we're going to talk about Detroit here coming up. They took on the identity of their team. You could argue the Chiefs have the identity of Kansas City, blue collar, Midwest, bring your lunch pail to work, let's get after it. The Patriots with Belichick. Boston, I'm sure, is a great city, but not many people are clamoring, hey, let's go on vacation to Boston. There's so much to do up here. It's where the country was founded, with the Patriots there and the hard work and the attitude that Belichick brought. So in McDaniel, I think he needs to implement some toughness and change his culture, because if not, then they're just going to be this fast, loose, finesse team that's awesome September to mid-November, but anytime you get after Veterans Day, when the real football starts, that's just not who he is.
And I think, well, that and, Mike Lombardi talks about it all the time is, you look at like those Colts teams over the years is that they had to go and win in their own stadium, where Lombardi said that if he ever had a chance to be a GM again, he would want to build a team. If he had an indoor team, build them with that outdoor toughness, because that's if you want to go far, that's the type of attitude you have to go make it to the Super Bowl and advance deep, make a deep playoff run. But let's go. Do you guys? We don't have to talk about this game. We could. You guys want to talk about Michigan winning the national championship again?
I picked this game, so we should talk about it.
We got to talk.
Yeah,
about
Ethan, you had a hell of a week. You were 5-1 this week. I was 3-3. Grant, you're the caboose. You're the caboose, and you were 2-4.
Yeah.
One got play from being 6-0. One penalty.
Which one was that again?
Yeah,
the Lions one, where they had
that's right.
Holding, passing, whatever you want to call it on that.
But
fourth down.
I suppose let's get the misery over with. Everything that I said that the Cowboys needed to do to come out and take care of business in this game, they didn't do.
They didn't do it.
It was pretty much over. I don't know what type of deal with the devil the Green Bay Packers made or Curly Lambeau made, but I mean, it feels right now the Packers have another 16 years of quarterback nirvana. LaFleur is in play calling nirvana, where whatever he calls, it works, which also just shows the testament and the confidence that he has in his quarterback, and shows how much Jordan Love has improved in the last 6 weeks of the season, to where he was, I want to say it was right before the Lions game. LaFleur was calling him out and said that he needs to be better, and we're not sure if he's the answer. And I mean, this team is dangerous, man, and they don't have to pay anybody.
Dylan, remember this? Remember going into the fourth quarter of that Vikings-Packers game? How lost Green Bay's offense was? They didn't have a first down until 3 minutes left in the first half. At that point, they're sitting at 2-5, and everyone's thinking this: season's over. Fire LaFleur. Joe Barry, should have been fired last year. Jordan Love sucks. We're going to need a new quarterback. And now they're here. This is an in-season rebound that I don't think I've ever seen before. An in-season turnaround that I've never seen before in the NFL. This is truly incredible.
He was a freak.
Yeah. I hate the Packers. I hate them.
I mean,
I hate them more than I hate the Eagles.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. And
Jack's only 2-4 in the playoffs. Like we all knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, not in this round. Well, Ethan did, but we didn't.
I did.
Yeah. Dak looked like Kellen Moore was calling the plays again. It looked like he almost had the yips. After they went down 7-0, it was like, oh, this game is over. And he misses CD.
Mm-hmm.
And Micah Parsons sacrificed not getting a holding call to do this. I mean, I think after that, like they just shut down. I was like, oh, finally I get a holding call. Well, and hey, he's got a podcast, so
Mm-hmm.
all these distractions and sit there and complain and whine, and all you've been doing is to try and get a holding call, and then you just disappear. And Aaron Jones, his homecoming to Houston, has another spectacular day. It was I've held out like that. I've been a Mike McCarthy stan like this entire year, and he's grown on me. And he's done something that the Cowboys haven't done under the Jason Garrett era. Is 3 straight 12-win seasons. They've won the division twice, but it almost feels like he's reached the ceiling, and that this is who Mike McCarthy is great in the regular season, and then as Mark Schlereth says, craps in their helmet in the playoffs. Mark was right. And just a future reference, guys, anytime that I start thinking positive that the Cowboys are going to be able to make a deep run in January, you guys have the permission to smack the shit out of me. I know we aren't near each other, but if I start talking about that, just stop me and tell me to smack myself, because I have to believe it until I can't believe it until I see it. And this is one of those situations that, I think maybe the 2014 NFC Championship game broke McCarthy's playoff brain, where he just gets too tense. They look unprepared. They play like all of the undisciplined. It all just rears its ugly head, and they forget how to play football and do what got them there. Do
you think also, Dylan, maybe in a weird way, that beatdown that he took in Atlanta in 2016 was wearing on him too? Like maybe that week for that Seattle game, they did everything right. That tight end just didn't listen to a special teams coach and tried to catch the ball and not block for Jordy Nelson. But in 2016, when they got just absolutely obliterated in the Georgia Dome, I think Atlanta scored another touchdown actually off that Packers defense just now, where he was like, "Oh my God, we're doing everything wrong, but I've been doing it this way the whole time. We won a Super Bowl. We won 3 straight road games in 2010. We did this." He's just a series of unfortunate events, and the loss to the Giants, the year after they win the Super Bowl. It's kind of just like, to your point, this is who he is.
Yeah. And I mean, especially when there's coaches out there, there's Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels, and Josh McDaniels isn't a head coach in the NFL, but I mean, he got Mac Jones, and albeit the Pro Bowl is what it is, but I mean, it was the best Mac Jones has looked in the 3 years that he's been in the NFL. And this is something too that you don't ever see a Bill Belichick team lay an egg like this, like they did in the playoffs either. So if he's out there, I think and I don't know what you want to do with Dak, because
he ain't
had the best year of his career.
He ain't going nowhere.
He's not. I know.
Yeah.
But and that's exactly what I'm thinking is he's in a lot better situation. Bill won't have to run the team, because they've got, between Stephen Jones and Will McClay, they've drafted really well, and they've done a good job of roster building. I think there's a couple of pieces I'd like to see them add a piece on the offensive line. I'd like to see them add another piece on the defensive line. But another running back, that, because Tony Pollard is going to be a free agent. I don't think he's even going to be back.
No, he's gone.
He in a Cowboys uniform. I think if he didn't get that injury against San Francisco, who knows? But go out and sign DeAndre Swift. I would love that. But a lot of questions going into Dallas this offseason.
I will say this though, Dylan. I remember how I said, the Packers offensive line can pass block. besides those 2 holding calls against Micah Parsons, it looked like Jordan Love could have baked a cake back there.
Yes.
And that is the one part where you just
And they
don't
ran
understand.
block. Their run blocking, you could have driven a truck through.
Which was not a strength of theirs all year. They were a
Never
pass
has
blocking. Never has been. They were a pass blocking unit, and they absolutely dominated. And since Dan Quinn's taken over, what is Dallas like, 3rd in the league in sacks since that time? I mean, they're getting after the quarterback. Mike has gone 13, 13, and 14 sacks in his 3 seasons, and Jordan Love looked like he was playing 7-on-7. I mean, the Cowboys pass rush either didn't want to show up or they did, and Green Bay's offensive line looked like the 92 Cowboys out there.
Yeah. Or the 91 Redskins.
100%.
But well, fellas, let's get to the best game of the weekend here. Lions 24, Rams 23. There were fireworks this first half. I had one shining moment of predictions this week when I said that this was going to be a 1-point game, the Lions would win a 1-point game, and they did. I was just I was a touchdown off, and fireworks in the first half. Difference in this game was both teams had 3 red zone trips. The Lions came away with 3 touchdowns. The Rams came away with 3 field goals, and the 2 touchdowns that the Rams scored in this game were on a 50-yard play and a 38-yard pass play, and it was a game of momentum shifts. It felt like towards the end that the Rams were going to come back and win. That the Lions, their defense did a good job of shutting down the run game and not allowing the explosive plays with Kyron Williams, which weren't able to open up the play action pass, even though Stafford still threw for a handful of yards. And some of the angles, he looked like a shortstop throwing the ball, the way he was able to fit the ball in. But the other part too is Sean McVay's clock management, and I am curious to see, especially in the second half, how often burning 2 timeouts instead of just taking the 5-yard penalty. I've been on this, and there are times when sometimes playing Madden helps you, especially in the second half. Like in the first half, whatever, burn the timeout. Second half, especially the way the Rams offense was moving the ball.
And how the Lions weren't moving the ball?
Yeah. Who cares if you go 5 yards back? It felt like it didn't matter where either team was, especially, either team, but for this sake, since we're talking about the Rams, it didn't matter if it was 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 17. There was just always belief that the Rams were going to convert a 3rd down and extend drives. But those two timeouts McVay had to take in the third quarter definitely came back to bite him in the ass and not really give him a shot. And I think that was why Detroit was so aggressive in their play calling in that final drive was, hey, they can't, if we get a first down, they can't stop the clock here outside of one time in the 2-minute warning. If we get a first down before the 2-minute warning, this game's over.
Yeah, I didn't understand them running it down to the 2-minute warning at all.
Yeah, take your time out before.
Yeah, get an extra one then. I mean, if they get the first down, it doesn't matter, obviously, but if you're almost screwed, you're gonna have no time left if they don't. I mean, at least put them in a 3rd down before the timeout or before the 2-minute warning. Like that was just ridiculous, I thought.
Well, and then also, you don't take that timeout. You let it go down to the 2. We have a TV timeout. You give Detroit more time to sit back and look at the coaching staff and say, do we actually want to throw this thing? Like,
did you guys have any doubt that they weren't gonna throw it? Because I was like, they definitely are going to be slinging this thing around.
For it. Yeah.
No, once it got down to the 2, I was like, oh yeah, he's going to go for the kill here on 2nd down.
Yeah.
100%. But even then, you give them more time. Then it gives the Lions maybe more time to think. Hey, 2nd and 7. We've been running this spot these last 5 weeks. This play's been really good for us. Let's go here. Or they're like, oh shoot, remember in week 1 this year when we played Kansas City, We had a 2nd and 7. We hit Amon-Ra. Should we go back to that? I know it's been a while since we ran that concept. Yeah. Hey, let's do it. Just giving them more time to think about stuff like that. Of course, only came back to bite the Rams in the ass.
Yeah, and what a scene in Detroit. You could tell how much that meant to the city. Yeah,
Those
they had
people
fans
deserve that.
crying. They did deserve it. It was awesome. And then they get another playoff game, which I guess is full circle after the debacle in Dallas of who reported, who didn't. They steal a home game from the Cowboys to get another one, and I fully expect another crazy atmosphere coming up on I believe this is the Sunday game.
Yeah,
And you know what?
Sunday
I gotta admit something here. I was on Detroit all year, guys. I picked them to win the division multiple times. They were my "I told you so" team. They're sitting back, this big, rough and tough offensive line, Dan Campbell's culture, and then I get caught up in the moment with the Rams. They're playing hot. Stafford's coming home. These receivers, hey, they got low key. They got a good rush defense. I don't know why I do this to myself. Just stick to your guns, Grant.
You overthink it.
How many times this year, if I would just listen to my concepts and my beliefs and principles on predicting games, I'd be right. But then I overthink it and I do this, and that, and I get it wrong. It's like, just you dummy.
We're always going to laugh when you call yourself a dummy, so.
Today's big dummy of the day, Grant Castor here, for going against the Lions he's picked all year.
Big dummy of the day. That's a new one.
Correct.
Big dummy of the day.
Interesting.
Big dummy of the day. And let's go to the first Monday night game that was supposed to be on Sunday morning, the first game on Sunday, which would have been nice if I didn't have to work and I would have been able to see this whole game. But Bills beat the Steelers 31-17. And it never, even though the Steelers did get it to a 7-point game, I never felt that Buffalo was in danger.
Yep.
The Bills felt like they had control of the game. They were able to run the ball consistently. When it did get to 24-17, I think a lot of people were very nervous. There's a lot of nervous energy in Buffalo, but what do? They went right down the field, scored, landed a knockout punch. And the biggest stat of this game for the Bills, 0 turnovers. I don't know the last time they had a game. I don't know if they've had a game all year where they haven't had a turnover. No turnovers. I think Josh Allen was like 21 of 30, threw for 3 touchdowns. Since Joe Brady has taken over the play calling duties from Ken Dorsey, they have a little bit more of a flow. It doesn't look like such an eyesore and everything looks so difficult. Like anytime they complete a pass or they gained like 4 or 5 yards, it just looked hard. There seems to be some flow to the offense, and Joe Brady has actually done a good job of actually calling an offense and not just calling plays.
Well, and I know going in this game, I think I said the Steelers, if they want to win, they need to force 3 turnovers. Well, the Steelers must have heard what I said and got it backwards because they had 3 turnovers in this game.
No, they're just not that good.
I was just like, guys, they're going to fight and scratch and claw and be right there. But then they have what, two red zone turnovers? Like when you're on I don't know, Mason Rudolph might be their best quarterback on their roster, but we'll say it.
He is their best quarterback on the roster. I don't think there's much of a dispute.
When you're on to we'll call it 3rd string quarterback, who still is somehow your best in a playoff game, you need to be perfect. And they just weren't perfect. And once again, no TJ Watt. The Steelers' defense is a below average defense. 1-11 now without TJ, and the last 12 games he missed. Again, Josh Allen, from what I saw, could bake a cake in the backfield because he had so much time to do whatever he wants. And apparently, the Steelers they forgot how to tackle this week. They just decided that playing tackle football
must be a Pennsylvania football team.
It must be a Pennsylvania. It's a Pennsylvania thing.
True.
Which I don't understand because when you have Tomlin there, he just preaches on effort and culture and doing the right things, and tackling is all effort. And Pittsburgh just decided that we don't want to do this. It's not for us. So yeah, anytime you do that, you're not going to win many games.
Yeah, and well, the biggest question in Pittsburgh right now is what are they going to do at the quarterback, because Kenny Pickett isn't the answer. Mason Rudolph is good in spots, and he's just that. I think that's all he is in the NFL. Is I think he's just a good middle reliever that can win you a couple of games, and then after a couple, teams have figured him out, and then he's done. But
so you're saying he's a good backup quarterback?
He is. He is.
Of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but that. Yeah, I'm very curious what Pittsburgh does at the quarterback position this offseason. Judging by the way they are, it wouldn't shock me if they try to run it back with Kenny Pickett. But yeah, I don't know what you do if you're Pittsburgh, because they're in a spot where they're not going to be able to really draft one. Their best option might be to try and trade for somebody, but I don't know who you trade for.
I mean, you can't tell me Justin Fields or Jimmy Garoppolo are better than what's on their roster now.
No. I mean, you're going to be the same result. They'll win some games. They'll win games they're not supposed to, but they need to. What they really need to do is they need to get another pass rusher opposite of T.J. Watt, because you know he's going to miss 4 or 5 games a year because he always finds a way to get hurt.
Well, and it's crazy because Highsmith, he's a good player, but is he only just a good player when TJ's there? Because you take TJ away and that dude disappears. You know, I think he signed a $60 million extension this last offseason. I don't know the total value, but I know he signed one. And when TJ's not there, he disappears. When TJ's there, they're a great duo. But if you want to be a high-paid, expensive athlete, you got to be the best player on the field, even when other players are gone. You got to be a tractor, not a trailer.
Ooh, that is a good one. I like that.
Yeah,
that is a good one.
And when TJ's not on the field, this Pittsburgh defense is full of trailers, because there's no alpha that'll take them to the promised land.
Nope. And another team that doesn't have any alphas, and their coach is definitely not an alpha. And the last game in the wild card weekend is the Buccaneers 32, Eagles 9. And let's give ourselves a hand. We were all right on Nick Sirianni here. We all said he was a fake tough guy, and all of his antics of him acting like a child, and I don't want to hear anything more of you Chiefs fans, or screaming, yelling, nodding into the camera. We all knew that was bullshit. If you're a good coach and if you're an actual tough guy, you don't got to do any of that crap.
Because people know you're tough.
And this game, it should have been a lot worse if the Buccaneers receivers could have caught the ball. The game should have been like 45-9 or something. But I mean, the tackling with the Eagles, it was like, and we tweeted it out from the podcast page. It was like the security guy that's checking people, where he's just barely tapping them down and letting them go by. That was the Eagles defense.
Not great.
And the offense, the play calling is. It felt like I was watching a Scott Frost offense at Nebraska, where it was just quick screen, quick screen, quick screen, quick screen, quick screen. You have DeAndre Swift in the backfield, Nick. Use him. Actually, and you know what? I love Nick Sirianni as head coach of the Eagles. I hope he stays. They give him a lifetime contract. But I don't know if it was because Hurts was beat up, but they didn't do any. They weren't able to handle Todd Bowles' blitz pick pressures at all. It looked like a team that just wanted their season to be done with, which is a shame because Jason Kelce just announced his retirement, and it sucks that our last memory of him is getting his ass kicked, because Jason's a tremendous player, a future Hall of Famer, and whatever broadcast network signs him, I'm looking forward to listening to him. But and he doesn't have to be associated with that awful team in Philadelphia anymore. But what a game for the Bucs.
Well, again, the Bucs deserve the credit here, but the real story is just Philadelphia's inability to have a functioning offense. Like Brian Johnson, you're not going to be a head coach in this league. You shouldn't be an offensive coordinator. You got credit for being the quarterback's coach when Shane Steichen actually put in all that work. And you guys claim to have the best offensive line in the NFC. All the guys are either going to the Pro Bowl as starters or backups. And you have 34 rushing yards all night. You don't even try to run the ball.
2 first downs on the ground. I think I saw. It was.
And so A.J. Brown is out with a sprained knee. You have Devontae Smith. You know he's going to get double teamed. Dallas Goedert hasn't been the same since he broke his forearm and came back. People, they're praising him. Oh, he's coming back. He's playing with the bad forearm, this, and that. Well, you know what? Since he's been back, he's been more of a liability. Dallas, if you're hurt, it's okay to be out because you're hurting your team with you being on the football field. You don't need to be a tough guy and say, hey, look at me, I'm going to come back. Because when you're dropping passes on third down, yelling at your quarterback, no one's going to remember that you came back from a broken arm. Maybe that's a South Dakota State thing, Dylan, and he's just a soft loser.
Correct.
So we'll go with that. It's a South Dakota State thing. We wouldn't understand.
There is video out there of him getting his ass kicked in a bar. So definitely,
that
South
doesn't
Dakota
surprise
State,
me.
fake tough guys. Philly, a bunch of fake tough guys.
Even though he looks like a mountain of a man, you could just tell you can tell this guy doesn't want to block.
No.
And if he's getting his ass kicked at the bar too. But this Philadelphia team, they didn't want to be there. And this offseason, they lose key members of their secondary. And what does Howie Roseman do? Not a gosh darn thing. He just says, hey, this front four, they're going to get after it. 34-year-old Brandon Graham's got to be 35 years old. Fletcher Cox is 34. He's got to be 34 years old. Where was Jordan Davis? Where was Jalen Carter? Where are these big, bad Georgia boys that they drafted who were supposed to dominate this game? Again, Baker Mayfield could have baked a cake back there. Josh Sweat had the 1 sack, but he had his first sack since week 9. Are you kidding me? Hassan Reddick, I haven't seen him yet. And then to fix their secondary, in the middle of the field, they're going to trade for Kevin Byard, an older safety, and then you're going to sign Shaquille Leonard and Zach Cunningham, older linebackers who aren't going to make a difference in this league anymore. It's like, what, Howie Roseman, what are you doing? You didn't make this team better. So, I mean, there are so many problems in Philadelphia and so many questions that need to be answered. It's going to be a fascinating offseason.
No, they don't. Nope. And it made me feel a little bit better about the Cowboys game, because at least with the Cowboys there was a little bit of some fight, where the Eagles were just like, can this clock just hit 3 zeros?
Yeah, they just straight up laid down and died. And
it was, I mean, there's questions like what is Jalen Hurts? Because he regressed this year.
Yes, he did.
There were a lot. I mean, him and A.J. Brown were at each other's throats.
Dallas Goedert was yelling at me yesterday.
Yelling at him. I mean, was he a flash in the pan 1 year wonder?
With a Mickey Mouse schedule.
Yeah, it'll probably go back because they'll get the Mickey Mouse schedule next year. But
they get the second place schedule. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Well, which is what they had the year before too, because the Cowboys were.
That is true.
So, I don't know. I hope they keep Sirianni, because, and the best part about it was too is I was watching the Barstool stream of Philly fans watch the game last night, of them talking about how stupid he looked, how he has all of his stupid sayings and never wants to see his stupid face again, and how much seeing just the complete 180 turn about how this is our guy, he represents Philly, brings us on strong, we're so happy he's our head coach, and now they don't even want to say his name.
He got a popcorn bath from a Eagles fan. After
I saw that too.
I don't know if you saw that, Grant. Some guy was in the front row, spent how much money on him? Dumps a whole box of popcorn on Sirianni as he walked by.
You get what you deserve when you're gonna go and
Oh
yell
my
and
God.
scream at fans. You deserve that, especially as the head coach. You don't see.
And dude, like I said, Dylan, you're yelling at fans from the team who beat you in the Super Bowl. You lost. You're a loser, Nick. And you're gonna have. I don't want to hear anything from you anymore. Nick, where's your Super Bowl ring to tell those fans to shut up? Oh, that's right. They didn't make one. The shirts you had are in Ghana. So do me a favor. Just do me a favor and shut the hell up. But also, hold on here. We've bashed the Eagles enough. Let's give credit where some credit is due. Todd Bowles and this Tampa Bay team, boys, they are clicking right now, and they put their chips in the middle of the table with Baker this year. But no one here thought this would work. We all thought they'd
We all
probably
picked them to take last.
be last place. They're 4-13.
Yeah.
Todd Bowles is only a defensive coordinator. He's not a head coach. Baker Mayfield's some cocky, arrogant guy who planted the flag at Ohio Stadium.
Thank you, Baker.
Thank you, Baker, by the way. He's not going to be dangerous or anything like that. Mike Evans can't have 1,000 yards without Tom Brady. Chris Godwin, his knee's about to be robotic. Devin White doesn't want to play. Well, you know what? They answered all these questions plus. And I'm glad Aikman finally brought up in the broadcast last night. Bowles took a chance on their new offensive coordinator.
Yeah, Dave Canales done a great job.
Great job.
And if you're Tampa, you have to re-sign Baker to an extension.
100%. He deserved to be a quarterback, and kind of just with the way that team is, people doubt them a little bit. They don't have the true superstars. And you could argue maybe in a way kind of some misfit toys. Baker's the perfect leader for that group of men, and Jason Light doing a great job, especially drafting on the defensive line these last 2 years. Logan Hall, the first rounder, I'm drawing a blank on his name, from Pittsburgh, had a big game last night. And then Yaya Diaba, the third round pick, who was third in the league with rookies in sacks this year. I mean,
Vita Vea.
Vita Vea still going strong. I mean,
tush push stopper.
Someone finally submarined Kelsey. Someone finally submarined him in his last game. I mean, so just credit to the Bucs, and who knows? Maybe they're building something right down there in Tampa Bay.
Maybe they've been going, but it's a good. I'm happy for Baker. I've always been a Baker fan. Maybe a short guys, we got to stick together.
Short Kings.
Yep, exactly. He's going to be a dad, so giving him some extra juice. And back against the wall, had a grown up, been with some structure, not in dealing with Freddie Kitchens or whatever the disaster that it was in Carolina. He's proven when he has some grown-ups around him, he can be successful, and he has that type of structure in Tampa. But let's go.
Guys, hold on. Did you see the meme last night? Someone took a picture of Lincoln Riley on the sidelines, and it goes, Lincoln Riley shows up to the Eagles game, and they already forget to learn how to tackle. Coincidence? I think not.
I love it.
That's awesome.
But let's go, Grant. Let's take a little bit of a break here from the division or some NFL talk. And we posted a video last night that you are officially in the fan transfer portal, and
yes, sir.
You talked about what got you there. And we've already had a couple of teams that have reached out with interest here, but have you completely ruled out a return to being an Iowa fan? Is that still on the table?
It's still on the table. Luckily, Kirk doesn't run the fan transfer portal the way he runs his program's transfer portal. Once you put your name in, you're out. You're no longer associated with the program. But I do have to say this, with Eric All going to the NFL draft, one less person to be excited about on offense, and an offense that already wasn't exciting. Last time I checked, there's still no offensive coordinator. I'm still waiting for some average 55-year-old white guy to be hired who doesn't bring any innovation to the table. I mean, so never say never, but one thing, and like I told this to Ethan Dillon the night of the national championship game when he came over here, you know, even though they've had success over these last 2 years or so, I just feel less and less emotionally involved into the team. Like, this year after the fair catch gate and the Minnesota game, every Iowa fan you saw on social media was losing their cool, and they were like, "Oh my God, no, he didn't call for that. We got hosed from the game. Blah blah blah." Put the official's head on a stick. I was kind of just like, "Oh, okay, they lost. They didn't deserve to win that game anyway. Like, whatever. Okay." Big Ten title game this year. They're only down 10-0 at half. I'm just like, they're gonna lose. They're gonna get their ass kicked. I turned the other game and I think I fell asleep on the couch. The Rutgers game this year, that game started at 3. I had to work that Saturday. I was off at 3. I could have got home and watched that whole game. But you know what? I said, no, they suck. I don't want to watch this team. I'm going to go work out and get a pump in. It was the best decision I ever made. I enjoyed my time working out more than watching that non-existent Iowa team for 2.5 hours before they did something in the fourth quarter. The Nebraska game, a game they totally should have lost. So again, I won't rule anything out, but we'll see. I'm just as a fan, I feel like I'm losing emotional interest and just frankly emotion to care for this team.
Just remember that $1 NIL offer.
I do remember that, and yes, and Ethan has been the first team representative to reach out with an actual dollar amount, so that's big. In today's world,
with the university, we're not breaking rules.
Yes, he is not affiliated with the University of Minnesota. Oh. In today's economy, a dollar's a dollar.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
It's a lot of money.
So right now, the teams that have reached out are Ethan with a solid offer of a dollar amount on the table. And the other teams that we have seen reach out so far are Tennessee, Oregon, and Nebraska. And I know Nebraska would be a tough one. You still have some love there for the University of Iowa. That just doesn't leave you overnight. Is there any chance that you would ever become Grant Benedict Arnold Caster and go over to Nebraska? You would also make recurring guest, and we have an in there too with Nate Rohr, so you would make him happy.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
I'll never say never, but of those 3, of the schools that you've mentioned that have reached out, Dylan, that would be number 3 on the rankings.
Okay. All right. Are there any other teams that you are hoping would reach out?
Well, right now, I've always been a fan of this team's head coach. He just finished his 2nd year there. But Dylan, a lot of the principles I said in that video, that's what he represents, and that's what he's trying to build his program on. And that would be the University of Oklahoma in Brent Venables. Like I said, Dylan, he wants to build that thing from the inside out. Look at his Clemson offensive lines he's had back in the day. He believes in winning that way, being fast, being aggressive, and wanting to dominate and play at an innovative, fast pace. So that's one school that if they'd reach out, I'd love to hear it.
Okay. All right. And you do have some family ties in that state.
That is true.
So we also have that. I know that is their rival and fellow future SEC foe and Big 12 foe Texas. Is there a chance? Would you be interested in them if they were to reach out?
Oh, at 100%. Because like I told you, I've always been a fan of Texas. Going back to that Rose Bowl when they played Michigan, and I'm gonna call a spade here. That burnt orange, I think it's one of my favorite colors. It might be the best uniform in college sports. And again, like I said before, Sark and his program, they're building it the right way. They play with a philosophy that I align with. From the inside out, big, fast, strong guys up front. They want to get after your quarterback. And sure, we're going to throw the ball around a lot, but you know what? We got a good staple of backs and a big offensive line, and we're going to try to run you over.
And I will give my pitch about the University of Michigan. Ethan offered you $1. I will offer you a steak a week here.
Hey,
And I know
yeah.
you like your chicken breast, so I figure that steak will be a nice change of pace. And I'm not going to skimp on it. I'm going to go with the USDA prime beef, not the choice, but we're going with the prime steak. Okay?
All right, Grant, we're upping it. We are going to give you a large jar of black bean salsa twice a week with blue chips organic from Target.
Oh man, this is
so he gets a blue tongue.
No.
Oh, well, this is exciting. This is fun. And we'll see where the arms race can go.
Yeah.
And that Michigan's just coming off a national title. They have got the biggest stadium in college football. Hey, this is my time, Ethan. You zip it. You talk about building a team from the inside out. I'm going to mute you here. He's muted.
Dylan doesn't believe in freedom of speech anymore. This has now become CNN.
Exactly. Darn right. This ain't a democracy. This is a dictatorship.
This is a dictatorship.
I told you capitalism needs to be dead. But we've won. I just Tony Reality'd him. And we have just won the national title. We've built teams inside out. There's some tremendous defensive line play. And a run-first team, you're going to see all sorts of different running combinations. You're going to see some power, zone, duo, split zone, all sorts of the type of running game that you like to see, the play action. And there is a special thing being built in Michigan that this isn't just a flash-in-the-pan thing. This is something that is going to be, whether Harbaugh is there or not, is going to be sustainable for years to come.
Grant, you know who you should go to? Dylan, probably you too.
What's that?
BYU, because neither one of you guys are going to get sex in a while. So, just do it.
Oh, that's a valid point.
That is a valid point. So we can add BYU to the list here.
We can add the Cougs to the list.
Yes.
Actually, I might. Now, who'd have thought? Also, when did the Big 12 Network become a thing?
The what network?
The Big 12 Network.
I think it became a thing about 2 seconds ago.
I think it did. Yeah. That's what they're playing on tonight. Is the Big 12 Network.
Oh wow.
That's new to me. I mean, there was a Longhorn network.
Watch this Iowa State BYU game, and all of a sudden it's like Big 12 Network and ESPN Plus, and I'm like, well, what the hell's that?
Well, so yeah, there was a Longhorn network before the Big 12 Network, so this is totally new information.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah. But so send us your submissions. Tell us why Grant should go to your team, and we will have a decision with headgear. He will be picking a hat like it's National Signing Day on the week we do the episode, which I believe National Signing Day is February 7th. So that February 8th will be when Grant is announcing who his new team or staying with Iowa is here. So stay tuned for that. And let's go back to the NFL. And Grant, you submitted this idea, and I think this is a good idea of the coaches that are left in the playoffs. We're going to be having a draft of who we can have as head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and we cannot take whoever it is. So once that person is taken, we are not able to take them for any spot here. And, of course, we're going to do it draft style. So
Dylan, also real quick, just for the listeners out there, as an offensive coordinator, I can pick a head coach.
Yes. You just can't pick if they've already been picked.
Or been taken. That is correct.
Oh, boy.
And if I want to, I can take an offensive coordinator, too.
Correct.
Okay.
So,
fellas, I have it, and I do have a theme here, and you guys, I think, will find this very fitting. So what I will go with, and Ethan, I already screwed yours up, but just go with it; it'll work. The first
what a surprise!
With the first pick in this NFL pick your head coach, your coaching staff is me, Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
With the second pick, it will be Ethan.
Falcons.
And with the third pick is going to be Grant.
Oh.
So, the Patriots. So I
Playoff
did
nemesis.
of teams that own us, and it has to be the Packers. Second one, the 49ers could have been a second choice for me. Ethan, I went with the Falcons because of what happened in 98.
Gary.
And, could have done the Saints back in 09, but the Falcons were my first. And then Grant, it's got to be the Patriots because Tom Brady. And I guess I could have done the Bucks too, but Tom Brady has a winning record against
Pat Mahomes.
against the Mahomes in the Super Bowl. And when you think of Tom Brady, you don't think of him playing for the Bucks. You think of him playing for the Patriots. So, guys,
another team you could have used. I know they just beat them last year, but
Bengals.
The Cincinnati Bengals.
Yep.
The Bengals, yeah, but you guys got the last laugh last year, so
that is true.
So with the first pick and the head coach, I'm gonna go with the two-time Super Bowl champion, and he's been to two more. I gotta go with Andy Reid. Frozen mustache Andy Reid. Because that was awesome. That needs to be his bust for when he goes into the Hall of Fame. 2 Super Bowls, creative offense. Always seems to have guys ready to go. Andy Reid is my head coach and leading the Fighting Dylans.
That's fair.
All right. I'm going on the West Coast. I'm going with Kyle Shanahan. I think he's the best offensive mind in football. Obviously having the best roster certainly helps, but they kick ass, and I love Kyle Shanahan. He's really freaking good at his job.
Yes, he is.
And Grant?
Oh, so you know what?
I think this is a fairly easy one.
I'm gonna go with a Super Bowl champion that's left, who also worked under Andy Reid, longtime special teams coordinator John Harbaugh with the Baltimore Ravens. Just a constant winner, even with kind of a wide receiver room of misfits toys. They get Zay Flowers is playing good. Has his team number one in the AFC, number 1 team in the NFL. Lights out defense, awesome special teams. Just one of the best organizations in the NFL. Give me John Harbaugh of the Baltimore Ravens.
All right, and we'll go snake style. So, who are you going with for your offensive coordinator?
Ooh, offensive coordinator. I was hoping you'd go the other way because I had a guy in mind. But that's okay. Offensive coordinator. Give me the hottest, youngest candidate out there. Give me Ben Johnson from the Detroit Lions.
Okay.
What he's been able to do with Jared Goff these last couple of years is remarkable. Sam Laporta had the best rookie year ever for a tight end. Amon-Ra St. Brown is looking like a top 3 receiver in this league. Should have been a first-team All-Pro this year. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, he's got that running game going. Really, the only team that stops the Lions are the Lions, and Ben Johnson is rolling. So give me Ben Johnson to run my offense.
All righty, Ethan, who's calling your plays?
I'm going with a head coach. I've been gushing about this team for a couple weeks now. I picked them preseason to make the playoffs, but we're going Matt LaFleur.
You son of a bitch.
Sorry, buddy. Washington Redskins. I believe in the Redskins, and these two coach together there. So they're going to get it back. I mean, I think Kirk Cousins was even there at that time. Maybe I'll take him for D coordinator.
He was.
Kirk Cousins
Turkey Bear was.
But yeah, no, I'm going Matt LaFleur. He's a freak. He's really good.
Yeah, that was going to be my pick, but you took him. So I'm going to go with another hot potential head coaching candidate here, and I'm going to go with the Texans offensive coordinator and Bobby Slowick. Big reason why C.J. Stroud has had the success he has this year. I believe he was also part of that Redskins coaching staff as well.
He was like an
part
offensive
of that Shanahan
quality assistant or type thing. Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Bobby Slovic as my offensive coordinator. And on the defensive side here, this is a tough one here because, man, I have the pick of the litter, and all three that I have written down I think are all tremendous choices. I could probably add a fourth, but I gotta go. And if this was college, my pick would be pretty easy. But this is not college. This is the NFL, and I gotta go with Todd Bowles.
Ooh,
Super Bowl winning defensive
nice.
coordinator, has found some success back-to-back NFC South champions as a head coach. The way he finds ways to bring pressure and get pressure on the quarterback, you need that in the postseason, and that head coaching experience I think helps Todd, where he doesn't have to focus on the entire side of the ball, can just focus on defense, and he is a very dangerous play caller, which will give the team he is playing headaches and keep him up at night. So Todd Bowles is my defensive coordinator.
Well, Dylan, you just let me create the best staff of all time. I'm going with D'Amico Ryans. Sorry, guys.
It's a reunion.
It is. Kyle, he's just so good. He was unbelievable as their D coordinator and linebackers coach before that. But yeah, easy choice there. Sorry, Grant.
Almost Alabama head coach too.
Yeah. According to message board Billy.
You know, when I was talking about last round where I was hoping to go defense.
We do have to give whoever wrote that some props, because there aren't a lot of people in Alabama that know how to read. So give it up to message board Billy.
For that matter, you know?
Or right. But Grant, who is your defensive coordinator?
Well, my defensive coordinator, boys, I'm staying home. He's a three-time Super Bowl champion and shut down the best offense in NFL history at the time with the 07 Patriots. Give me Spags. Give me Steve Spagnuolo.
Yep.
Aggressive. He's not afraid to come at you from many different ways. Covers. He disguises his coverages. No two blitzes look the same. The Chiefs have been second in the NFL in sacks the last 2 years. He rotates players like it's a hockey team. You know, this Chiefs defense is 18 players deep with that, and the variety of ways he comes at you. Man, give me Spags to run my defense.
All right. Well, that concludes the pick your coaching staff playoff edition here. That was a great idea. Shout out Alec for the idea. We're gonna have to bring some more different type of segments onto this. Find something new for next week's episode. But let's go back up. Let's preview the divisional round games. We'll go from first game to the last game. So we're going to be starting out in the land of the crab cakes in the DMV. Ravens versus Texans. Ravens are 7.5-point favorites. This game's at 2:30 Mountain on ABC. The total for the game is 43.5. Texans coming off a big win. CJ Stroud playing lights out. The Ravens, we're going to see. This is a tricky spot for them, because the last time they were the 1 seed, they played the Titans, laid an egg and lost, were one and done. How will they respond after having 2 weeks off? It feels like they are a team that should have been playing and needed that to ride that momentum going in. But for the Ravens, if you're Lamar Jackson, don't try and press. It felt like his last few playoff games that he has been in, he tries to press early and puts himself in some bad spots where he'll turn the ball over, interception or fumble. He just needs to let that game come to him, make the easy play, and get off to a fast start. That was something else they didn't do when they were the 1 seed and lost to Tennessee. I think John Harbaugh got a little bit too aggressive and went for it on a couple of fourth downs where they should have kicked field goals, which if they do in those situations, they actually have a shot to win, have an opportunity to win the game, or with a drive to go down and win the game or tie it against Tennessee. And then on the other side of the ball is how will Mike McDonald attack CJ Stroud? Jim Harbaugh, John's brother, brought Mike McDonald in to help beat Ohio State. Mike McDonald is 1-0 against CJ Stroud in his career at beating Ohio State for the first time. The big thing is they can't let those explosive plays happen. That's what happened with Cleveland is they were able to go over the top. And the Colts go over the top. They need to keep everything in front of them. I think Mike McDaniel has that type of defense that will make them go the length of the field. And is Houston disciplined enough to where if they're not hitting those explosive plays, will they try to press and try to force something and then bait CJ Stroud into an interception or a turnover of sorts? What are some of your guys' keys to the game? And then we'll, like last week, we'll come back around and do our predictions.
I mean, I feel like a lot of people will say, well, let Lamar Jackson, make him beat you, but he's the MVP. Like, that's out the window anymore. Like, how you beat the Ravens is you got to turn them over. That's really the only way you're going to do it. Create those short fields. I don't think they're going to get these explosive plays on Kyle Hamilton deep down the field. He's too good. And he's honestly, second year, if I want to say?
Second year.
Yeah, and he's unbelievable. But they're going to just have to dink and dunk it, and if they get a short field, take advantage of it, because we just saw like the Rams last week. If you don't take advantage of the red zone, you're not going to win in the playoffs.
And yeah, guys, I think for the Ravens, in a weird way, I think they gotta come out and they gotta establish the run right away. Dylan, to your point, let those nerves for Lamar kind of calm down. I think sometimes he can be his own worst enemy, and then if they come down, they can get Houston to bring one of them safeties down in the box because they're worried about getting 4, 5, 6, 5 yards again a carry. Then you can take a deep shot with Zay Flowers and get that going. And then also, the Ravens led the NFL in sacks this year. Well, you know what? If you want to beat CJ, you got to do it again, because I know you mentioned Mike McDaniel is 1-0 against CJ. CJ also threw for 394 yards in that game and 2 touchdowns. It wasn't Michigan's defense. Aiden Hutchinson had a game, but it was Michigan's offensive line that was dominant in that game. So if you let CJ have a clean pocket and he gets that confidence going, it could be a long day for Baltimore. Because Dylan, you're right. I think they're a streaky team, and taking a couple weeks off, maybe they got out of their groove. So the Ravens need to come out, establish the line of scrimmage, and kind of that, and then in return that'll calm Lamar down to have a big day and take some deep shots later on.
Yeah, and prediction-wise, I think Baltimore. I think they do. I think Lamar has learned. I think if there's anything, there's been a lot of questions about Lamar's ability as a passer. We've seen him grow year to year from when his rookie year to when he was the MVP his second year. He's got the attitude of nobody cares, work harder. And we've seen him grow, and they've done a really nice job of developing pieces. I think Todd Monken has done a great job calling the offense, and you've seen the trust and the comfort that they have between the two, something that was missing towards the end of the Greg Roman era in Baltimore. And I do think Baltimore is going to come out, and they're going to make those easy plays. I think they're going to get out to a lead, and they're going to be able to play from in front and lean on that running game. And I like the Ravens to win 31-21.
All right. I'm going Ravens too. I'm going 27-19. They just they're able to make a few more plays than the Texans at the end of the game.
Yep, I'm with you guys. It's a clean sweep. Baltimore 28-16. I think that Ravens bend but don't break defense comes into play this week. Houston might have a lot of yards, but when it comes down to it, they're going to kick a little too many field goals, and the Ravens get a 12-point win.
All right. I almost made my score 28-16 too, but I thought I like Baltimore to get a couple of touchdowns or maybe 2 field goals. They get a 2-point conversion or something. Let's go to the second game on Sunday,
Saturday,
excuse me. Thank you, Grant. The 49ers versus Packers. 49ers, 8.5-point favorites. 6:15 Mountain on Fox. The total is 50.5 points. Both teams are very good those first 15 plays. We're going to see who's able to survive the script for both. Both are very good at that. Will the 49ers, are they going to be able to limit explosive plays? I think the big key, and the key that is that something that the reason why the Packers have had so much success is their ability to run the ball. Will the 49ers be able to shut down the run and limit those explosive plays where they make it a drop back pass game for Jordan Love and see if he can beat you that way? Who's going to be able to play from in front? I think both teams are very good with a lead, and both quarterbacks are also very young. Which of these young quarterbacks is going to make a mistake, which we have seen at times, both of them prone to do, which you expect to see as a young quarterback. So the game within the game is going to be very interesting in this one on Saturday night.
Well, the Packers are going to have to establish the run. That's what they've been doing the past 4 weeks, where they're 4-0 now. That really just opens everything up for Jordan Love. He thrives off of those play action passes, like that tight end wheel route where Musgrave was literally known within 20 yards of him. That's really what makes this offense go. If they can get Brock Purdy to make some of those throws like he did versus the Vikings, like this could be an interesting game. The Packers could walk away with a win at that point. Purdy's done it multiple times. I mean, who, like Dylan said, who's going to be better, Love or Purdy? That's what it's going to come down to.
And for me, guys, 2 weeks in a row, I'm talking about this Packers offensive line. Here we go. Grant talking about the big boys up front, but they shut Parsons and Lawrence and that Cowboys defense down. Can they do it 2 weeks in a row? With Chase Young, Nick Bosa, Hargrave, Eric Armstead. Because if they can, there are plays to be made on this San Francisco secondary. And Jordan Love is feeling confident. And you know what? It'll be an interesting matchup in this aspect. Both head coaches know everything about the other team's offense. Do they, in return, give something to help their defensive coordinator make an adjustment that maybe causes a turnover in this game? With that, and it's for San Francisco's sake, it's got to be the Christian McCaffrey show. I understand, Brock's played well this year, leads the league in yards per attempt, but make that Packers defense stay on the field a long time and wear them out. Have it be the Christian McCaffrey, day. And then when you get into the red zone, find Kittle and get touchdowns. And again, for the second week in a row, I'm going to say this, make Jordan Love match you touchdown for touchdown. But establish the running game. And then if you win the time of possession battle, make sure you end those drives in touchdowns. So then Green Bay can't have the ball for 35 minutes and say, hey, we're going to control this thing and dominate. If they only got the ball for 25 minutes, those 25 minutes better matter. And you got to probably at that point score at least 3 TDs to win this game.
Well, take us into your prediction, Grant. What do you got?
I think Christian McCaffrey and Brandon Ayuk are going to be too much, this week. McCaffrey, if you ask me, he's going to have a late touchdown in the fourth quarter that seals this thing. Give me San Francisco 27-21.
Hey, Dylan, you going? You want me to go? What are we doing?
You can go. Yeah, you can go.
I'm going against my preseason NFC title, or I guess, NFC title team. I'm drinking the lemon lime Kool-Aid, guys. We're going with the Packers 28-22. Jordan Love leads a late game drive to win it for him.
Okay.
That would be spicy.
And that would be exercising some demons, because the Packers have not had much luck against the 49ers in the playoffs as of late. No. So maybe he is what gets him over the hump here, but frankly, I don't see it. I don't see that happening. Kyle Shanahan is really good in these spots when they are in the playoffs. He just turns his coaching up to a different level, unless it's in the Super Bowl. And has some competent quarterback play and defensive backs not dropping wide open interceptions. I think him off a bye with a week and basically 2.5 quarters to prepare for the Packers, I think that he's going to be too much. I think the 49ers get out to a lead and get out to a hot start. I think Packers move the ball early, end up having to settle for some field goals, fall behind on first and second down. And I like the Packers to win 34-19.
You mean the Niners to win 34-19?
Sorry, the Niners. Excuse me. Niners to win. I was looking at the Packer helmet.
Ah, yes.
Get that stupid helmet out of here. The 49ers win 34-19.
There you go.
So then let's go to the Sunday games. And this one, the first game of the day, is Lions versus Bucks, 1 o'clock Mountain Time on NBC. The total's 48.5. This is a game that I think the Bucks, and they were talking about it in the broadcast last night, a game that kind of turned the Bucks season around when they played in week I shouldn't say turned it around, but
week 6.
Yeah, it felt like after they lost, I believe they lost 2 straight and lost 20-6 against the Bucks. That revenge factor is always going to play in. How is Detroit going to handle coming off an emotional win? Their first playoff win in 32 years. Will they come out a little bit flat? Interesting matchup here is what is Todd Bowles going to do to make Jared Goff uncomfortable? Todd Bowles did a great job last week of mixing blitz pressures up and really confusing Jalen Hurts, making him uncomfortable, because against the Rams, Jared Goff was never uncomfortable. He was able to play his game for 60 minutes, and that's something that they're going to have to do early. I think I would expect if you're Tampa to send pressure early, knock Jared Goff on his butt, hit him in the mouth, get him a little bit uncomfortable, get him rattled where he's showing that he is not the quarterback that he usually is. And the other thing for Detroit too is they can't get away from the run like they did in the second half against the Rams. I think they ran the ball for like 34 yards in the second half. They have to be able to consistently run the ball and can't get away with it. And Ben Johnson was your offensive coordinator. How is he going to adjust from week to week where they're going to try to establish a run against a very good run defense with Vita Vea and that other that front, that nasty Tampa Bay front?
I think in order for the Bucks to win this game, their front four needs to control the line of scrimmage. They're going to have to limit Gibbs and Montgomery as much as possible. That way, the play action doesn't make as big a difference. That's what Lions thrive off of. That's how Ron St. Brown is, like, I feel like always open. Like, I feel like he's constantly open off these drags on the play actions, and that's what Goff is really, really, really good at. If you can get him out of that, he is pretty human. You can beat him. He will make some bad throws. But if they can't control the run just with 4 to 5 guys up front, I don't think this is going to be much of a game.
And yeah, guys, I'm looking at the Tampa Bay side of things, and last night they really just attacked and dominated the middle of the field against the Eagles. The Lions have a bit of a weakness there too, where if this Tampa Bay offensive line, who is very underrated, can keep Aiden Hutchinson and company away, Baker's going to have time to get Mike Evans the ball, get Chris Godwin the ball, and Otten the tight end for some big chunk plays down the middle of the field, which the Lions defense has given up, this year. Just for Tampa Bay, can they score in the red zone? Because if they kick probably more than 2 field goals, they're not winning this game on Sunday. And that's why the game last night was so close for a little bit, because they settled in some of their drives. They ended up kicking field goals when they should have scored touchdowns. And against a reeling Eagles team, that helps. But if you don't score touchdowns against the Lions, it ain't happening.
Ethan, what do you got for prediction? Grant, when we do Bills Chiefs, we'll let you pick last since that's your team. But just a heads up here. But Ethan, what prediction? Who are you going with?
Here I am picking a Thanksgiving Day rematch for the NFC Championship.
Who would have thought?
Lions are going back. Lions are winning. Packers are going back to Detroit, and we're gonna have round 3. Is what's gonna happen this game.
My God, Ford Field might explode.
Yeah, I'm taking the Lions 31-17.
All right, and for me, I think it comes down to quarterback play for me, and I think Jared Goff is a little bit more consistent than Baker Mayfield. I think Baker Mayfield might get into some tough spots. He gets a lot of balls batted down, and I like the Lions to get a win 26-20, and they go out to San Francisco to play for a spot in their first ever Super Bowl.
Guys, again, let's make it a clean sweep. I think how I mentioned Tampa Bay's got to figure out to score in the red zone. I just don't see that happening. I think this Detroit defense, it's a bend but don't break unit. They'll give up the yards, but they're going to clamp down. And then also, I believe in this Detroit offensive line. Even though early in the game they're going to get 2 yards a carry, 3 yards, 1, 2. Eventually, Tampa Bay's defense is going to be on the field so long enough, those body blows are going to land, and Detroit is going to score some touchdowns late in the fourth quarter. So with that, give me the Lions 27-16.
Okay. All right.
And the Tampa Bay's coming off a short turnaround. They played on Monday night. I'm worried there'll be a little bit of emotional letdown. I'll say too. Having to play 6 days later.
That also could be playing a factor. And then let's go to the final game of divisional round weekend here. Bills versus Chiefs for the, third time in 4 years that they will be meeting in the playoffs. Second time in 3 years that is going to be in the divisional round. The last time they played in the divisional round, we had a tremendous game, all-time classic, back and forth. Chiefs were down with 13 seconds left. Pat Mahomes, we have the Mahomes miracle to tie the game and then go down and score and win in overtime. Bills are 3-point favorites. This game is the 4:30 Mountain CBS game. Total for this game is 45.5. There's talk about the weather. I think the high is about 20. Both of these teams are used to playing in cold weather. I don't think that's going to be as much of a factor as people are making it out to be. Mahomes, as an underdog in his career, is 8-1-1 or something like that. And he's like 7-3 outright. 7-3 outright as in the win-loss. Stupid. He's a really good future Hall of Famer, but first time playing on the road. How does he respond? The Bills, they got what they wanted. The Chiefs in their building. I think this is going to be very much a game of who expect both teams to move the ball 20-20. It worries me that the Bills are going to be down a linebacker but who is going to be able to get touchdowns in the red zone? And quarterbacks that have, as great as they are prone to making a mistake from time to time, especially lately as Josh Allen. But coming off a no turnover game, is this next game a game where he does turn the ball over? And I think like Pat Mahomes has learned, he hasn't been as big of a risk taker this year, where he knows that he has a good defense, and if he doesn't put them in tough spots, they're going to be able to they'll be able to win the games, and field goals might be able to do enough to win. I think that in this game, though, I think they're going to need to find a way to convert it. This is where we're going to see some of the Andy Reid creativity. Is he going to be able to dial some things up in the red zone to find a way to get in there? But what are you guys? What are some of the things you guys are looking for in this game?
The top two things for me are, one, who establishes the run? Is it the Bills or the Chiefs? Because that's going to be a huge thing in this game. It's going to be cold. It's going to be physical. Who can get second and 4, 2nd and 3 instead of 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 every single time down the field? And then 2, does Josh Allen take care of the ball? We know, like Dylan, you just said, Mahomes has been a little bit more on the, I guess, safer side this year. I don't think that's going to change. How much does Josh Allen want to win this game? How much is he going to push himself to make these risky throws, these bigger plays, huge risk reward, which is kind of how his whole career has been. Obviously, he was better at it last week, but going up against Mahomes, he might have that extra fire where he's going to get back to that. And will the Chiefs make him pay for it?
that's a great point, right there, Ethan. And I'm looking at a matchup that I don't think people are going to talk about this week, but it's the Bills wide receivers and tight ends versus the Chiefs secondary. The strength of this Chiefs team this year, we all know L'Jarius Sneed has put clamps down on any number one he's faced. And historically, besides his first game in Minnesota, Stephon Diggs has not played well against the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know what it is. Maybe that's just Spags. That's my defensive coordinator in our coaches draft. Maybe that's just him doing his thing. And then also, is Gabe Davis going to be able to play this week, or is he still injured? Because if you can put a combination of Sneed and McDuffie on Diggs, and I trust Justin Reed to cover Dalton Kincaid, then you throw in, Justin Watson and Mike Edwards. I really like this Chiefs secondary, and I think they can limit the big plays that Buffalo has, and then you can let their pass rush get home, which has been so successful this year. So I'm looking at for that, and then also, guys, this week for the Chiefs, the field goal party has to end. I feel like I've said that for 3 games in a row now, but if Harrison Butker's kicking 4 field goals, you're not going to win this game. Josh Allen's going to do some Houdini stuff like he did in the first game, and you're going to need to get some touchdowns. And let's see if Pat backs it up, because normally his career on the road, he's insane. He loves playing on the road. He loves quieting the home fans. Can he get after it, and can he play like the Pat Mahomes that we know he is in the playoffs? And for the Chiefs, just continue to do what you've been doing these last 3 games. Establish the run with Pacheco, get Kelsey and Rashee Rice going on some short routes, really get up the yak. And then once or 2 or 3 times, maybe when the Bills don't rush with integrity, Mahomes can rush for 13 yards on a 3rd down and extend some drives.
And we'll go with predictions. I'll start. And, the Bills, they finally got what they wanted. They got the Chiefs in their building, something that they've been waiting for since they lost the AFC Championship game in 2020. And, like I said, I think there's both reasons for optimisms for both teams. I wouldn't be shocked. I think as this game gets closer, I wouldn't be shocked if this line gets closer to a pick'em. But for me, before I can do it, I need to see it. And I just can't trust the Bills. I trust Pat Mahomes in these bigger spots more than I trust Josh Allen. I trust Andy Reid more than I trust Sean McDermott in these spots. So I think this is a back and forth game. It comes down to who's going to have the ball last. I think it's going to be low scoring. And give me the Chiefs 20, Bills 17.
All right. I think it's going to be close to 1-score game. I also have a 3-point score. I'm going with the Bills 24-21. Josh Allen gets it done with his legs just enough to pull it out.
Well, yeah, guys, it's a common trend. Whenever these 2 teams play, it's going to be a 4 or 3-point game. It's going to be a nail biter. We're going to hear Romo saying, "Oh, Jim, look at this fantastic quarterback play," on both sides, because Tony loves both players. But no surprise here. I'm going to be a homer. Give me the Chiefs and give me Mahomes' legs being the difference. I trust the Chiefs pass rush more. I think they're going to rush with great integrity this week. They're going to try to do their best to keep Josh Allen in that pocket. Von Miller, Ed Oliver, Rasuo, Epineza, they're going to run past Mahomes a few too many times. He's going to take advantage of that. And they're going to finish drives in the red zone. They're going to continue playing like they have, leaning into the running game. So give me the Chiefs a 26-23.
Okay. All right. So with that, Grant also has the overhitting. Ethan and I both had the unders in this game. There really isn't any game that I really like. Like last week, I hit both my totals games. I had the under in the Lions Rams and the over in the Packers Cowboys. There really isn't a game that I feel strong about one way or the other on the total here, but I will have my picks out before the first games on Saturday. I'll be watching on a golf course. So all predictions sure to go wrong, And let's put a bow on this show here with Ethan. We'll kick it over to Ethan here for Curveball of the Week. What do you got for us, E?
So as you guys know, I've been working on this diet or whatever. And when you diet, you kind of got to give some things up. You got to do some things differently. So what is a food that on a diet or just something you thought sounded weird, but it actually turned out super, super good?
Well, I know I can cross one off the list that is not, and that is sugar-free syrup. That shit sucks.
Mine includes part of that, so awkward. But while you guys think, I'll go. We're doing keto, so everyone listening, we're doing keto, me and Hannah. But Hannah said she had these keto waffles because I was like craving something sweet, and I'm like, but yeah, waffles have a lot of carbs in them. You can't eat that. So she made these. They call them chaffles, I think is what they're called. But it's cheese, mozzarella cheese, 1 egg, and almond flour. It makes a damn good waffle. Honest to God, it might be better than a real waffle.
That's saying something coming from the waffle guy.
It's pretty wild, man. I'm not kidding. And yes, Dylan, we use sugar-free syrup.
Gross. Terrible. You sound like my parents. Oh, you can't taste the difference. Bullshit, you can't. You have to eat 17. You have to go. Since you suck at fantasy football, you got to go eat 17 pancakes and you try sugar-free syrup. That shit sucks. I'd rather lick the hair off of Grant's ass than eat sugar-free syrup again.
Oh my God. Oh, that's so good, Dylan. So good.
Something that that actually tasted okay. I will say liver is not the worst thing I've ever eaten.
No, liver's good.
I've tried it a few times. You kind of gotta coat it in flour and you gotta really season and doctor it up some. But it reminds me very much of the steaks that I used to have that when I was a kid, where my parents would make it, and it would be like well done, and it would be like Teflon and leathery. The texture of liver is disgusting. Like just holding it in your hand when you're before, like you're coating it in flour, or like putting it in the pan is like, this kind of slimy. But put Heinz 57 onions on it. It's not the worst thing in the world. So I guess I'd say liver.
Okay,
that's fair. I guess for me, guys,
it's cheap and it's high in protein,
which is why we love it.
Yep.
I guess one thing that just for me, Ethan, this one here, it like starts off just by the way it looks. The big thing in the world, people get a piece of cauliflower, they get a carrot, and they want to dip it in the ranch.
Oh yeah.
Which just cancels out everything. But like when I first saw hummus, I was like, this stuff looks like baby food. Like, I'm an adult, I shouldn't be eating this. And then you open up a thing of Sabra and you're like, God, this shit slaps.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never gonna go back. Carrots and ranch? No. Give me the red pepper hummus from Sabra, and it's fantastic. Maybe a little Triscuit on the side too, with some hummus. Oh my God, it's life changing. And I tell you what, I enjoy some hummus, but no one enjoys it more than my father. Daryl Castor is the biggest hummus stan in the world. I think I've seen him take down a small container of hummus in one setting.
Oof.
That boy, Daryl.
He may have also taken down a whole box of Triscuits at the same time. But yeah, I got to go with hummus here, just more or less, just because it looks like baby food, and I shouldn't be eating that.
It's true.
I'm gonna see if my dad's awake here. I'm gonna give him a call because he's the health eater king. Hey, we're recording the podcast right now, Dad, and curveball of the week question here is, Ethan is on a health kick, and his question is when you started really looking and analyzing, trying to really focus on your diet, what is something that you thought was going to taste terrible, but you actually ended up really liking?
Some sugar-free syrup. How about that?
I just had a whole when this episode releases, I just had a whole rant about how terrible sugar-free syrup is.
It's so good.
Ethan agrees with you that sugar-free syrup is the way to go, but I can't get on board.
Well, your brother agrees.
Yeah, well, you guys are clearly wrong. So, and you guys have never had to eat 17 pancakes in one sitting. So, no,
I could just because I wanted to, not because I had to.
Yeah.
See?
Well, that's true, but I wanted to get the healthy eating experts' opinion on there. So, and you made your debut, Dad, on the podcast. So, welcome.
Well, you know what else I thought was really good that I'd never ate before was yogurt. You know, the Greek yogurt. I never ate that. I thought that wouldn't be any good, and I still eat it today, one a day.
Yeah, well, I think the Greek yogurt's actually better than the regular yogurt.
It is. It is. If the health nuts recommend any yogurt, it's the Greek yogurt.
That, and then like the stuff you make for it, the stuff that we had at Christmas with like the Cool Whip and low fat Cool Whip or whatever.
And the sugar-free. Well, I use the cheesecake pudding now. That's even better than the vanilla sugar-free.
Oh, like the Jello or whatever.
Yeah, well, it's pudding.
Or pudding. Okay.
Pudding powder, yeah.
Oh, gotcha. All right. Well, thanks. We will. Thanks for the help. If we have more questions, you might be making more appearances.
Oh, okay.
All right.
When are you recording?
Right now.
Oh.
Okay. We're live, Dad. We are live.
Oh, okay.
So, all right. Well, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yep. Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Incredible.
I don't know, sugar-free syrup.
I knew he was going to say that too. That's why I had to call him and ask him. I was like, that one is going to be right there.
You know what I'm gonna do, guys? I'm gonna go to the store. I'm gonna buy a thing of just some generic, could be a frozen waffle, maybe an Eggo, something. And I'm gonna see if I can buy a small container of sugar-free syrup, and I'm gonna give it the old college try, and I'll let you know how it is.
Okay.
You document it too, and we can share it and see. I hope you get raked over the coals over if you think it's good.
Stay tuned, folks.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned. That concludes episode 113 of the Three Guys Talking Ball podcast. Well, as always, we're going to have the segments of the show out on Friday. Maybe I'll post some content while I'm out on the golf course of me playing whack fuck. But yeah, check us out on all of our socials. Make sure you're following us, 3GTV Podcast, on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, Instagram, TikTok, Three Guys Talking Ball Podcast on Facebook and YouTube. And we will be back next week to preview the divisional round of the NFL and previewing the NFC Championship, whoever is playing in it. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.